In this lesson, we're going to use the law of cosines to solve for missing angles. So the formula still stands. C again is going to be the side or the angle in our case that we want. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Again, we said C was going to be the angle that we wanted. So this has to be angle C, which makes this side C. Again, then A and B, doesn't matter which one's which. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write that formula up top. So C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB times the cosine of C. All right, so let's start plugging things in. We have 10 squared equals my A and B squared, so I have 18 squared plus 25 squared minus 2 times 18 times 25 times the cosine of C. All right, so this is a little bit trickier only because you have to follow order of operations. Okay, so keeping in mind, we want to get C by itself, right? Well, C is part of cosine, and all the stuff is being multiplied times the cosine of C. So really, we need to move the 18 squared and the 25 squared. So I'm going to subtract both of those away from that side. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this as 10 squared minus 18 squared minus 25 squared. Now, you can absolutely multiply that out, but I just don't want to write that many numbers. So I'm left with equals negative 2 times 18 times 25 times the cosine of C. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify that. So we have 10 squared minus 18 squared minus 25 squared. That gives me negative 849 equals, and I'm going to go ahead and simplify this part as well. So negative 2 times 18, negative 2 times 18 times 25 gives me a negative 900 times the cosine of C. Now keep in mind, I'm trying to get C, that's my variable, by itself. So I have to divide by a negative 900. So what I'm left with is the cosine of C is equal to negative 849 over negative 900. Now, negative divided by negative is a positive, so really you could just write that as 849 over 900. But because we're solving for an angle, remember that means I want the inverse cosine of 849 over 900. That is the measure of angle C. So I need to press second cosine, then 849 divided by 900, and you should get about 19.4 degrees. All right, so again, the formula isn't the problem. Where people run into trouble is they don't follow the order of operations. People try to put all of this together here, but you can't do that. So people try to put all of this together, but you can't do that because of our order of operations, right? You have to take care of that multiplication before you can do all the addition and subtraction. So let's do one more like that. Again, I'm going to go ahead and write my formula up here. All right, and we know C has to be what we want to know, right? We have, this would be angle C, which makes this side C. So my other two sides have to be A and B. So let's start filling it in. C squared is 8 squared equals A squared plus B squared. So 6 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times my A and B, which is 6 times 7, times the cosine of C, or X, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and that's the angle we're solving for. So to follow order of operations, I'm going to take and move over my 6 squared and 7 squared. So I have 8 squared minus 6 squared minus 7 squared is equal to negative 2 times 6 times 7 times the cosine of C. So let's go ahead and simplify. I have 8 squared minus 6 squared minus 7 squared. It gives me negative 21. And then I'm going to simplify this as well. 6 times 7 is 42. Times 2 gives me 84. So this would be negative 84 times the cosine of C. All right, so I need to get the cosine of C by itself. So I need to divide by a negative 84. So the cosine of C is equal to 21 over 84. So I'm doing the inverse. The inverse cosine of 21 over 84 is equivalent to angle C. So I'm going to press second cosine, 21 divided by 84. And I got my angle to equal 75.5 degrees.